Raw LA Ghetto Time news notes for the mind, love, peace, and hair grease. Y'all know what it is. Oh man, y'all back. Shout out. Peace to y'all. We got another one for y'all, man. Paul's vision. Fact or fiction? Paul's vision. Fact or fiction? Did Jesus leave off the right hand side of God and come down and talk to Paul? And then told Scotty to beam him back up. Did Jesus really come down and speak to Paul? Did he leave off the right hand of God to come speak to Paul? Now let's keep in mind, audience, that from the time that Peter and Stephen saw Yeshua ascend into heaven and sit on the right hand of God, this is years prior to Paul having his conversion. Paul's vision, fact or fiction? And so my contention is that either Paul is a goddamn liar, or the Catholic Church added that in Paul letters, because it's a contradiction. It's a contradiction, y'all. And we're going to show and prove today, god damn it. So I'm gonna make this video quick, couple of quick slides, and then we're gonna see what it do. So these are my points. What does the right hand of God mean? What does it mean? Well, if we go to Psalms, what the Christians like going to like real hard, if we go to Psalms 110, the verse is basically saying that he sits on the right hand of God, and when he comes down, read the rest of Psalms 110, it tells you that when he comes down off that right hand of God, the day of vengeance is at hand. See, this is the problem I have. Peter, Stephen, the disciples, we can go to Acts 1, chapter 1, verse 10 through 11, and this is the return of Christ. This is Peter talking about the return of Christ. The day of vengeance is at hand when he come back down. So in Peter and their mind, they knew, they studied the scriptures. These were zealous zealous people studying the scriptures. When you see Peter speak about Old Testament prophecies, when he's speaking about it in Acts chapter 2 and speaking to the crowd and all of that stuff, he's speaking in a prophetic way, like he's speaking Old Testament. So these guys had a real good understanding of what it meant to say that when the Son of Man leaves the right hand of God, the day of vengeance is at hand. But you got Paul saying that Jesus left off the right hand of God, came and spoke to him, and then called Scotty to beam him back up again. It's not making no sense. And this is all based off of Mark chapter 16, verses 9 through 20, which is not in the original manuscripts of Mark. We got denominations, we got Israelite camps, we got everybody still quoting Mark 16, 9 through 20 as if it's fact. See, this is the thing, audience. If Mark 16, 9 through 20 was never in the New Testament, you got to get rid of Acts 1 through 9. You got to get rid of Corinthians 15, 1 through 7, with Paul talking about, and he talking about the 40 days. Yet he came into his Mama, he spoke to the disciples, then he came to his brother James and all of that. Like, why the hell is Paul quoting something that that's not originally in the text. Now, come on, audience. We know, everybody should know, they got Irenaeus as the one who added that shit in Mark, my nigga. All biblical scholars tell you that was added into Mark. Now how did Mark quote get up in Acts 1-9? How did Mark quote get up in Corinthians 15, 1-7? And so I'm basing this all around Mark 16 to prove that Paul either was a liar, because I don't have to follow Paul. You know, that's the church that try to condemn you, like, man, you don't follow Paul, man, you damn to hell. I don't have to follow Paul, nigga. All I need to do is follow Yeshua. Whatever Yeshua said, that's what I gotta follow, bro. Up in Mark, my favorite book. You know what I'm saying? So I plan to show Paul's vision goes against Peter and Stephen's analogy of how they view sitting on the right hand of God meant. Ain't no coming back down. Why didn't Jesus visit the disciples when he visited Paul? You couldn't come, you went to go holler at somebody else, but you couldn't come down and holler at your mans. Oh, hey, hold up. Hey, my nigga, I'm about to shoot back up there, man. I just had to come through and tell y'all the second time, man. Yeah, man, I just hollered at Paul, man. I converted him, man. You know what I'm saying? I told him go to the Gentiles. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm just coming back through, you know what I'm saying? Letting y'all know, you know what I'm saying? Before Scotty beam me back up. Nah, man, something ain't right. You know what I'm saying? As I stated before, Mark 16, 9-20 doesn't exist, and this is quoted by Eusebius. Eusebius tells you that it was not found in the earliest manuscripts. Now, wait a minute, you Christians and you Israelites and all that. You validate the LXX, the Septuagint and all that. You validate that. You like, nigga, we got the oldest records. We got the oldest records. They there. 2nd century, we got them. They really 3rd century. You know what I'm saying? These manuscripts is old. You know what I'm saying? But the oldest ones that these Christians do their scholarship off and try to debunk Israelites and people of the Abrahamic faith and all that. Well, Eusebius says in the earliest manuscripts, Mark 16, 9-20 wasn't in the scriptures. Was Peter and the rest awaiting Jesus to come back? And if so, in what manner? We're going to get into that, right? Let's continue. Paul says he came to him so he can be a light to the Gentiles. But Peter and them was waiting on judgment day. That's in Acts 1, chapter 1, verse 10-11. They was waiting on judgment day. Paul wasn't waiting on judgment day. Paul got the revelation that he's supposed to be go preaching to the Gentiles. Think about this, audience. Peter and them was waiting on the Son of Man to come in their time. You think they got enough time to sit there and try to and go out and convert all Gentiles and all that? What's the point in converting Gentiles if they not going to be part of your army? I don't see what's the point in converting Gentiles for what? For what? There's no point in converting a goddamn Gentile unless you gonna put him in your damn army, nigga, and he make a vow that he ain't gonna turn on your ass in war. When we go to Isaiah 46, the light that's to be brought forth to the eyes of the Gentiles and all that. But if we go into But if we go into Zechariah, it tells you that he gonna stand at the foot of Zion. So now we dealing with that geographical area right there before we dealing with Isaiah 46 about he's supposed to be crossing lands and all of that stuff. So in Zechariah, nigga, he dealing with the surrounding place that's right there. Ain't nobody converting no goddamn Gentiles, man. The light is the sword that's going out, nigga. Nigga's gonna be a sword in his hand. He gonna be like, nigga, choose life or death. The people gonna be like, hey, we on your side, man. Your God is the supreme God. That's how it's gonna go down. He ain't gonna just go around and just start slaughtering people. He not into metaphysics. He not gonna have a DNA lab, nigga, sitting there like, let me test your DNA to see that you a Hebrew Israelite and all that stuff. You're not gonna be doing all that, bro. He got the third eye. He know who a Hebrew Israelite. No, it's gonna be off the people that's nigga follow these statute laws and commandments, or nigga get your ass put to death. Nigga, what you got to go out there and convert Gentiles for? Nigga, this shit is happening fast. See what I'm saying? So Acts 1, Acts chapter 1 through 9, and Corinthians 15, 1 through 7 is speaking about this 40-day thing, which doesn't exist up in Mark. Based off of Mark 16, 9 through 20, and Matthew 28 and 19, which just so happens to say, go out to all the nations and preach the word of God, aka Gentiles. See, something ain't right there. Paul, Gentiles. Matthew, Gentiles. This doesn't belong in Mark, so therefore it shouldn't belong in Matthew. But now it's in Matthew and it's saying go to the Gentiles. Somebody added that shit to there, bro. Okay. And like I said, we look at Isaiah 46, light to the Gentiles did not consist of Gentiles and Israelites together. This is why they don't care about Paul. Look, if you really pay attention to the scriptures, you would notice that James and Peter and all them, like when we gonna get into the scripture, when Barnabas came and said, Jesus came to him and gave him a revelation and a message and all that, bro, they ignored that fool, bro. They told that fool, go back out there, nigga, bring back them ties, bro. They was not interested in what he said. They wasn't, what's that, Acts 11 and 3. They was not interested in what he said. They wasn't happy. They wasn't like, my word. They was like, word? Nigga, Yeshua came to you, word? Man, what'd he say? What'd he say? He came back to y'all, word? Word. What'd he say? Man, they like, what if you don't get your goofy ass up out of here, man? Go back out there, nigga, go get that tithe money, man. We trying to prepare for a war, bro. Because they understood that what he talking about, impossible. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, so that's about it right there. So without any further ado, let's get into these goddamn scriptures, man. Fact or fiction? Paul's vision. Fact or fiction, man? Yeah, so let's get right to it, man. So this right here, this is Acts 7. This is dealing with Stephen, right? So we just gonna show proof, you know what I'm saying? And let y'all be the judge, you know what I'm saying? Again, it's Mark 16, 9 through 20 doesn't exist. Paul told a bold-faced lie, nigga, in Corinthians 15, 1 through 7. That's a bold-faced lie. He getting the information off some verses that don't exist. Okay, so verse 56, and said, behold, I see the heavens open and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of God. This is what he told him. This is the reason why they began to stone in his ass. He's saying other stuff and they like, nigga, judgment coming on y'all, nigga, y'all foul and wicked and all that stuff. But when he said that Yeshua was sitting on the right hand of God, that was total disrespect. Oh, stone him, nigga. Oh, this nigga tripping, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so they did that right there. Okay, let's go. I want to go fast. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's get to Paul. Let's get the raw dog Paul. Let's get the raw dog Paul. The conversion of Paul the Apostle, right? It's normally dated to around 34 to 37 CE. Jesus died, what, around 32 CE or something like that? You got a couple of years passed by before he got this revelation. Peter and them, they walking around, nigga. They like, nigga, we waiting on Yeshua. Man, when Yeshua come back, nigga, we gonna kill all these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Years later, this nigga come with some crazy stuff. Remember up in Galatians, he was in Arabia, wherever he was in the mountains. He was 14 years out there or some shit. Okay, so just giving all the precepts about Paul's conversion. So we got Galatians 1:13 through 14. We have that's Stephen Stoning right there. Pauline epistles. And so in Psalms 110 it said, the Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet. Right? And I don't know why Christians use that. That's crazy. It goes against their whole doctrine. You know, they never read down. They just stay right there. And he said, my Lord was talking to my Lord. Nigga, that's not David and all that. Nigga, we don't care about all that. Bro, read the rest of it down there, nigga. So this Psalms is speaking about he's on the right hand of God, and he's going to make all the enemies his footstool. When he stepped off, Psalms understood that when he stepped off the right hand of God, the day of vengeance is at hand. And then we got Corinthians 15, 3 and 8. And from 33 to 37, 4 years after his death, plus he heard Stephen said he's on the right hand of God. Nigga, Saul is right there at Stephen's murder. He heard, and I'm pretty sure he was sitting way in the back, nigga, at the day of Pentecost, nigga, when Peter was right there, got his zipper, he way back there. He hearing two people say, and Yeshua is sitting on the right hand of God. And he still come up with this revelation like he came down and spoke to me. I don't know about y'all, but I must be special because he came down and spoke to me. You see what I'm saying? So he's right there at Stephen's prosecution. Heard Stephen say he's sitting on the right hand of God. Everybody in Jerusalem knew what the hell that meant, man. Like, he stand up there, and when he come back down, it's the day of judgment. Isaiah, Zechariah, Ezekiel, you name it. You know what I'm saying? And so, just want to give y'all that right there. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's see, I got something down there. Let me see. Okay, and then we got Acts 9. Speaking of conversion. And this another thing I want to add. In all three instances of Paul's vision, he says that Jesus Christ came and spoke to him. He ain't say a spirit came down. It would have been better if he would have said it like that. A spirit came down. I saw a vision. Nah. He said Jesus Christ, nigga, came and spoke to him, bro. Jesus Christ. What I said, Hermes, Zeus. Hermes Zeus. You know Hermes Zeus, man. Yeah. So that's that. Oh, forgive me. Well, I said Acts 11 and 3. Now pay attention to this right here. This is Barnabas, just giving you a rundown on Barnabas, right? And just want to reiterate on what I was saying about them talking about paying tithes. Now check this out right here. Acts 9 and 27. But Barnabas took him and brought him into the apostles and declared unto them how he had seen the Lord in the way, and that he had spoken to him. Barnabas taking up for this dude. Barnabas believed this fool, man. Barnabas, what is you doing? But guess what the apostles do? Because we got to jump. And so then tidings of things come into the ears of the church which was in Jerusalem, and they sent forth Barnabas that he should go far as Antioch. They wasn't even concerned with what Barnabas said. They wasn't glorified. They wasn't happy. They wasn't nothing. When you go to the next page, it picks back up on Barnabas, because you know Peter give his sermon right after Acts 9 and 27. Peter goes into his thing right there, and then it picks back up on Barnabas, and the elders was like, yeah, go out there and go bring back them tithes. They weren't happy. They weren't joyful. They didn't ask nothing about, they ain't asked him nothing about what y'all said. Now the congregation was broken up. This down here, Acts 13 and 43. Now the congregation was broken up, and the Jews and the religious proselytes followed Paul and Barnabas, speaking to them, persuade them to continue in the grace of God. Hey man, what did Yeshua say to you, bro? What did he say? Nothing. Wasn't even concerned with what he did. They like, man, go on, keep on doing what you doing, bro. Just make sure you bring them tithes back, nigga, and don't be out there, nigga, spitting out false messages and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. So the arm of the Lord is synonymous with sitting on the right hand of God. Awaken, awaken, put on strength, O arm of the Lord, awaken. As in the ancient days, in the generations of old, thou art not it that have cut Rahab and wounded the dragon. This arm is a killer. When it come back down, it's gonna kill. It's not gonna heal. And so the disciples and Yeshua, they would understand with sitting on the right hand of God, the Son of Man, and all of these things, man. They read the Old Testament. They like that arm, when that arm drop, people dying. So let's move on. Continuing. This is after the 40 days on earth, before chapter 2. Then said he was on the right hand of God. And while they looked steadfastly towards the heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. When he come back, when he come back down, these two spirits are, I just say they was on the mountain, man. These high priests talking to him, man. You know, it's all poeticness, man. I don't believe in nothing invisible. That's just my personal opinion. But in Acts 1:10 through 11, they understood that was prophetic. Future, the day of vengeance, says the Most High. Everybody know that Peter and all them was waiting on Yeshua to come back and kill, bro. Stop being goofy, man. We gonna get deeper. Reiterating on Stephen. We got two witnesses that said he called Scotty and Scotty beamed him up and he's on the right hand of God. When you say the right hand of God, that's propheticness. He stand there until the end times. Facts. Facts. Having established this, we need to determine when was Paul born. At what year Stephen was stoned to death. I don't want to go into it. You can see it right here. This is Stephen Shirley. Okay. Putting the above together, we come up with an age for Paul Saul of 28 to 32 years old at the time of Stephen's stoning. The man right there listening to Stephen say, man, he on the right hand of God. Paul don't know what that mean? You mean to tell me he don't know what that mean? Now, Trip, we got Peter in his later books. We got him in Acts doing it. We got Peter, I guess his own memoirs that he wrote. However y'all want to say the authorship, third person, all that. I'm not getting all in that right there. I'm just giving you the rundown. We got from Mark to Acts, and then when we get to Romans, who is he that commandeth Christ that died, ye rather that is risen again, who is even on the right hand of God, who also maketh intercession for us. Paul is saying after he spoke to me, he went on the right hand of God. But everything before him and up under him is saying that, no, bro, before you stepped on the scene, homeboy, he was already on the right hand of God. Look at Paul talking about, yeah, he on the right hand of God now. That's after he spoke to me. But when Peter is saying this down there, he's saying like, no, that been fulfilled. Like, that was, man, I wrote about that. Man, that's 15, 20 years ago. Like, we been knew that. Because at the time of First Peter was written, you know what the scholars say, they was on the run. I don't even think Peter was in Jerusalem. He was somewhere else. In Pontius or one of the 7 churches and all that. They was on the run. This was leading up to 70 CE. Come on now, man. This nigga Paul goofy, homie. So we even got the man Yeshua quoting from Daniel 12. And this is in Matthew 24, which is the predicted return of the king, which is called the Olive Discourse. Quoting from Daniel. Now, when you go in Daniel, it's telling you, bro, this propheticalness is telling you that son of man in the end times, that son of man, that arm of the Lord is going to come down and strike with vengeance, man. This is coming out of Yeshua's mouth. Even Yeshua he knew that. Nigga, I ain't coming down 3, 4, 5 times. Nah. I'm not coming down 3, 4, 5 times. I'm not coming down to deliver a message. Look, he even say up in John, he said, when I die, there's going to be a comforter. Nigga, the comforter is just the Ruach, the Holy Spirit. Nigga, that's all that is. I'm going to be with you. With you, Peter is this cornerstone, and he builds up the temple, and I'm always with you. That's what that mean right there. But this is talking about revelation. This is future tense. Quoting Daniel. Come on, man. We got Paul. Acts 2:24. Whom God had raised up and loosened the pains of death. Let's go to 25. For David speaking concerning him, Psalms 110. I foresaw the Lord always before my face, for he is on the right hand, that I should not be moved. It's clear as day. Go down to 32. And Jesus have God raised up, wherefore we are all witnesses. Therefore, being on the right hand of God, exalted. Now, go to 34. For David is not ascended into heaven, but he saith himself, the Lord said to my Lord, sit thou on my right hand until I make thy foes thy footstool. Paul ain't get this. He ain't understand what this meant. So let's deal with it, man. Paul says that Mark is futile. No resurrection in Mark's gospel, man. The whole Christianity rests on the question of the resurrection as its founder, Paul of Tarsus, writes. And if Christ has not been risen, then your faith is useless and you are still guilty of your sins, right? It's Corinthians 15 and 17. But the first of the four gospels, i.e. the gospels according to Mark, apparently did not receive Paul's memo. The fuck? Man, so let's get right into the scholars. Theologians. Let's see. The Gospel of Mark seems to support the Islamic worldview, as it strikingly keeps silent on omens and anything of the resurrection. The Gospel ends in verse 8 with the woman in utter confusion fleeing the scene of the tomb, which was empty. Okay. For Mark really has no resurrection and no appropriation. Excuse me if I ain't pronouncing that right. Just an empty tomb. These are the Lightfoot professor of divinity, a New Testament scholar, James Dunn Wright. The earliest gospel ends without any record of a resurrection appearance. Nigga, excuse my language. Mosquito on me. Chair of the Department of Centra for the Studies of Religions in University of Toronto, Mark famously has no resurrection appearance stories. Only the discovery of an empty tomb, man. What is Paul talking about? Bro, if you don't have a resurrection story, then the word resurrection doesn't belong in Acts. I don't know what the hell Peter was talking about. I don't know what the hell anybody was talking about up in there. See, rising from the raised and resurrection are two different things. In Hebrew, there's no word for resurrection. Let me show you this, man. Let me go back. And we just simply go to Ezekiel, Valley of the Dry Bones. The dead bones rise back up from a low state to a high state. Not the dead came back alive. See, there's no story about Jesus walking around for 40 days. It doesn't exist. There's no resurrection. There's none of this stuff. Where is these people? Where is Paul getting this information from? Why is resurrection all this in Acts? Why is Peter speaking? Well, Peter speaking. No, let me see. Let's go. Let's go, goddammit. Let's go. You see 31 right here? Will raise up Christ to sit on the throne. He seeing this before spake of the resurrection of Christ. What the hell is resurrection doing up in there? And Hebrews don't even believe in resurrection. I mean, excuse me, they have no terminology for the word. Their rising is not the same definition as a Greek resurrection. Nigga, the Romans and the Greeks believe, nigga, that somebody dead, nigga, can come back to life. Ezekiel is the perfect representation of how somebody is dead and now has rised. Not this Greek interpretation, bro. The 40 days never happened. We ain't finished. There are effectively just 2 Greek manuscripts that lack Mark 16, 9 through 20. These are the Codex Sinaiticus and the Vaticanus. Two important manuscripts from the 4th century. It's almost unimaginable that the copyists who made them were unaware of Mark 16, 9 through 20. Once we look beyond the question, the numbers, against the other 116 plus Greek manuscripts of Mark, the picture becomes more complicated. At least 23 Greek manuscripts that include Mark 16, 9 through 20 have also anomalies like extra endings or notes that express doubts concerning the authenticity of these verses. One important 4th century Old Latin manuscript has a short addition after the verse 8 and then ends without verse 9 through 20. A valuable Old Syriac manuscript from the 4th century also ends at Mark 6, 16 and 8. A Coptic manuscript of the 4th century ends with Mark's gospel at 16 and 8. Colwell identified 99 Armenian manuscripts of Mark of 222 surveyed, ending in 16 and 8, bro. And a further 33 containing 16, 9 to 20, but with notes expressing doubt about the verse's authenticity, man. If you don't have these verses, you don't have no story after that. You don't have no resurrection. You don't have no 40 days. You don't have none of that, man. Let me take you somewhere else, though. So, going back to my point, last point I want to show right here, then we'll be done right here. So, when you get to Acts 1, chapter 1, verse 1 through 9, this speaks about the 40 days. How did it, my thing is that's a third person writing that part right there. See, I don't like I said, I don't get into who was the author of Acts and all of that stuff right there, but I know that in Acts chapter 1, 1 through 9, that's not coming out of Peter's mouth, man. Because Peter will be going off of Mark 16, 9 through 20, which doesn't exist. Now we can we can kind of theorize. We can probably say that, well, them 40 days, Jesus died after them 40 days. You know, some people say Jesus ain't died. But, you know, the scriptures say he gave up the Holy Ghost and they wrapped him up. So he was dead. In my eyes, he dead. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Could have went to the tomb. They could have healed them up and all of that stuff. But the Bible doesn't believe in somebody can die and then they come back. It's just, that's not feasible in the Bible. So, Acts 1 through 9 and Corinthians 15, 1 through 7 and Mark 16, 9 through 20 and killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Corinthians talking about the 40 days he was roaming around. Acts 1 talking about, yeah, how he came and spoke to us. The other bird that I killed, the right hand of God. They knew when he come back, day of vengeance. Paul, like he came down the second time already. I mean, y'all be the judge, man. So, man, just had to get that out right there. I found that crazy, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, this your boy Adams Gerard, LA Ghetto Time News, Notes for the Mind, man. Love, peace, and hair grease. Love yourself.